The fact that black rednecks exhibit the same hostility and violence toward other minorities long associated with bigoted white rednecks in the South presents white liberals with another challenge to find a way to evade the obvious.
It presents a challenge because those white liberals are attempting to maintain a narrative which says that blacks are not responsible for the way that they act and that everything negative that they do is always someone else's fault.
Black anti-Semitism, for example, is not recognized by Andrew Hacker, who claims that no one really knows if blacks and whites differ markedly in their feelings about Jews, despite survey after survey showing greater hostility to Jews among blacks.
Playing games right here.
Black hostility to other minorities, such as the Koreans, has likewise often been ignored by such liberal publications as the New York Times, or even defined out of existence by a variety of white liberal writers on grounds that racism requires power, which blacks do not have.
Giving blacks more justification to act in a certain way towards others. And so basically, if this is done to blacks, then it's called racism. But if blacks do it, then it's called something else.
Following that logic, Nazis were not anti-Semites until they gained control of the German government, and the Ku Klux Klan today would not be called racist anymore because it has lost the power it once had.
And this is logic that those perpetuating this narrative do not want to face because it shows that their definition doesn't make much sense.
But the arbitrary proviso of power was never part of the definition of racism until racism among blacks became widespread enough to require a convenient evasion.
Uh-oh.
The thuggish gutter words and brutal hoodlum lifestyle of gangster rap musicians are not merely condoned but glorified by many white intellectuals and understood by others lacking the courage to take responsibility for siding with savagery. The National Council of Teachers urged the use of hip-hop in urban classrooms.
To be fair, I can see how these people would try to use something that the blacks are already familiar with as a means to try to get them to learn something, right? But hip-hop and rap music, that has been way more harmful than helpful to that community, right? And so most of that stuff has to be left behind, right? And especially when you're making the transition away from being a black person. And so when anyone listens to the content of hip hop and rap music, it becomes obvious why that has to be the case.
The cultural editor of the San Francisco Chronicle characterized rapper Tupac Shakur as a lightning rod of insurrection in the name of social justice. USA Today said gangster rap is rooted in part in underfunded school systems which fail to equip students with the skills to speak out effectively and intersect with larger communities. An article in the New Republic said that rap music has become the nearest thing to a political voice of the poor. A New York Times essay dismissing critics of gangster rap referred to the poverty and hopelessness that foster vicious behavior. The general orientation of white liberals has been one of, what can we do for them?
And basically saying, what can we do for black people who are the children of this society? And so why would anyone want to be addressed or looked at in this type of manner, right? This in itself is demeaning, especially to anyone who sees themselves as a free or capable individual, right? But this is not something that the consciousness of black people as a whole has evolved into as of this point, right? And so it won't be until they evolve away from that identity, that culture, and that mindset, which is what they were meant to do and is their birthright, that they will not view themselves and will not be viewed by others in such a dependent and victimized way, right? And what a day that will be when the world witnesses them climb out of the pit and enter into the free world where life is much better and it makes more sense. And so I want to thank you for watching all the way until the end. My name is Brooklyn St. Michael, and I'll see you in the free world.